Local 10 News starts right now.
Good Friday morning, South Florida. I'm Eric Yutzi. Here's a look at your top stories today. Rescue efforts continue in the Bahamas after Dorian's devastation. Officials confirming the death toll now up to 30, though that number is expected to climb in the coming days. More than 200 people have been flown to Nassau for medical treatment as the U.S. Coast Guard works around the clock to find survivors in those storm zones. Officials say looting is creating a dangerous situation for everybody there as people become desperate for food and resources.
As soon as we actually walked in the doors here in America, that's when the emotions kind of hit and you're like, man, I'm back home.
Sigh of relief for those arriving back in South Florida after riding out the storm on the island. 6 Americans flown back to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport on a Tropic Ocean Airways jet. The private charter company halting their normal operations so they can continue those relief efforts. They say they're doing their best to bring back any U.S. citizens who might be stranded. South Floridians showing up in a big way to help Dorian survivors. Local 10 there as the first permitted relief flight to Freeport left from Fort Lauderdale on Thursday afternoon. Our Janine Sandwood was aboard that Trinity Air Cessna, packed with all the supplies it could carry. Over in Port Miami, the donations have been dropped off at our Local 10 Care Force locations. They were also loaded onto a Norwegian cruise ship, bound for some of the hardest hit areas.
Listen to Local 10's podcast, The Florida Files, wherever you are, whenever you want. Just say, Alexa, play the Florida Files podcast.
Getting the latest episode of Florida Files. Here it is from TuneIn.
Previously on the Florida Files.
Or just ask Siri, I want to hear the latest Florida Files podcast.
Here's the newest episode of the Florida Files.
Get the Florida Files on Alexa, Google Home, or Apple devices just by saying play the Florida Files podcast. The Florida Files from the one and only Local 10.
Developing this morning, the Broward Sheriff's Office looking into the circumstances surrounding the sudden death of a 2-month-old in West Park. The baby boy found not breathing yesterday afternoon in a home on Southwest 22nd Street and 40th Avenue. Detectives looking into whether that home was being run as a daycare. So far, no arrests have been made. As breaking news happens, we'll keep you covered on air and online. Head to local10.com for more local news coverage and updates.